the touchdown maker, Dominique Rhodes.
At this time, I'd like to introduce to you, as we start to get in the meat of the program, I'd like to introduce to you Hall of Fame member and the chairman of our board of directors, Al Pickett. Thanks, Al. Here we go.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the 24th annual Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame banquet. And I'd like to welcome the class of 2025. We're going to introduce each one and as they come forward. We begin with Callie Corley Ashley. Apparently they didn't hear back there. Next, Mickey Early. Bill Grissom. Ike Gross, represented by his widow, Carolyn Gross. Sam Harrell. Along with him, his son, Clark. So soon as we figure out how to work the lift. Ready? Okay, and next up, Leslie Harrison. The Hood family, represented by Derek, Don D., and Joel. Fred Niffen, represented by his son, Dale Niffen. Tex Robertson, represented by his son, Robbie Robertson. And finally, James Washington. Save one right here behind for me. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, Bill, I called your name in here. Bill Grissom, I'm sorry. I want to tell you the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame is a nonprofit organization that relies on donations and sponsorships to exist. And so a big thank you for all of you. This is one of the biggest crowds we've ever had because this is our major fundraiser of the year. We've now inducted nearly 250 people into the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame since we started in 2002. Our goal is not only to honor the great athletes and coaches of the Big Country, but also to preserve our amazing history we have in this part of the world. Since 2020, we've operated a museum in the Mall of Abilene that's open 7 days a week free of charge. Each week on our Facebook page, we provide a short Hall of Fame fact segment to highlight the great accomplishment of our inductees. And we do much more than just honor the former athletes. At the end of each school season, we hold a reception for the state medalists from the 19-county area that we serve. And just a couple of weeks ago, we honored the state runner-up girls basketball teams from Jim Ned, Eula, and Abilene Christian School. And in a couple of weeks, we're planning a reception for the state medalists in powerlifting. And on May the 3rd, we'll have a reception at the museum for our scholarship recipients. We will give 12 $1,500 scholarships to Big Country student athletes this year. And you saw their names as you were on the video board as we were eating. That will bring us to nearly $180,000 in college scholarships we've awarded since we began the program. We're very proud of that. Also, a big thank you to the Shed who catered our meal tonight. Those are the thickest pork chops I've had in a long, long time. As I mentioned, we are a nonprofit organization. We couldn't do this without our board of directors. Would the members of the board of directors who are here please stand so we can recognize you? We're also blessed with the work of our employees who do the real work. They man the museum, they prepare for the banquet. And so thank you to Carol Sanderson. You see her running around, not sure where she is right now, along with Bryson Shake in the back and Ann Floyd. Ann, stand up. We want to recognize our sponsors who make this possible. As you see a list in your program, but I want to mention our major sponsors, the VIP gold sponsors, Bibb and Associates, the Pat Gerald family, and Tom Stanton. Our award sponsor, which we'll be giving out trophies to them, is Game One. Video sponsors, MHC Kenworth and First Bank and Trust. Our scholarship reception sponsor, BML Incorporated. Our VIP reception sponsor, the Galbraith Group, R.W. Baird, and our ticket print sponsor, Steve Smith of Raymond James Financial. You also see all the table sponsors, and we appreciate all of you for being here and being the sponsors of our event. We couldn't do it without you. We have a number of past inductees that I want to introduce. First of all, one that was going to be here and called me just about a half hour before I left the house, Charles Cootie, the 1971 Master Champion. Just got back from Augusta, and he said, we're tired, so we're not coming. And James, you may be interested to know that Charles said to be sure to pass along. He's a TCU graduate and a Stanford native, and he said that he tried to get TCU to recruit you, and he said, when you went to Oklahoma State, you would whip TCU, and that's exactly what happened. So Charles, his condolences, he couldn't be here. I'm going to introduce some more of our past inductees, and if you would just stand and stay standing for a moment, we'll give you a round of applause as we get everybody introduced. First of all, longtime Abilene ISD and McMurray swim coach, Bev Ball. Former world champion skeet shooter, Jackie Cox. Former Cooper tennis coach, Leanne Scott. Former Merkel and ACU pole vaulter, Brad Pursley. Former Abilene High and professional baseball player, Bob Carruthers. I believe Bob is here. Gerald Galbraith, who was a member of Abilene High state championship teams in the 1950s and part of 3 generations of Galbraith and Smith families who received the Legacy Award 2 years ago. Gerald? Longtime Big Country track coach, Phil Swinson. Former Abilene High gymnastics coach Bob Sanderson. Former Cooper, TCU, and professional tennis player Rick Myers. Former Cooper and TCU tennis player and Rick's brother Scott Myers. Former Cooper, Trinity, and a professional tennis player Ann Schroeder, who came all the way from Miami, Florida to be with us. Former Abilene High tennis coach Fred Scott. Former Cooper and Baylor basketball player and Baylor athletic director Tom Stanton. And we even let referees in here. Former Southwest Conference and WAC official who actually worked a little bit in the NFL, Lynn Lawhon, Dr. Lawhon. I want to do one other thing. Rick Myers helped organize a tennis reunion because of Ike Gross and Fred Niffen coming in. Would everybody who came in as part of the Niffen-Gross tennis reunion, would you please stand? How about that? Thank you all very much. Now, if we would get the lights, I want to turn your attention to the video board, the MHC Kenworth and First Bank and Trust. And we wanted to honor our past inductees who have passed away this past year. We lost 7 inductees, and we wanted to recognize them. And so if you would take a look at the First Bank and Trust and MHC Kenworth video board, we're going to honor the past inductees who we lost this year. We want to take a moment to remember the 7 Hall of Fame inductees who have passed away since last year's banquet. Former Holly and McMurray sprinter Bruce Land. Longtime McMurray basketball coach Herschel Kimbrell, who McMurray's basketball arena is named for. Former Cooper football coach Merrill Green, who led the Cougars to the state championship game in 1967. Former tennis standout Chip Myers, the first district tennis champion at Cooper. Former Aspermont and ACU basketball star John Ray Godfrey, who still holds the Moody Coliseum single-game scoring record. Former Colorado City and McMurray football standout Dick Compton, who played defensive back in the NFL for the Detroit Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And finally, we want to remember Max Williams, whose generosity is how we were able to open the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame Museum in the Mall of Abilene. Max enjoyed a remarkable career and life both on and off the basketball court. He led Avoca to a Class B state basketball championship in 1955. He is considered the first Texas high school basketball player to dribble behind his back. Max scored more than 3,300 points in his high school career, and at the time of graduation was the leading scorer in UIL history. Williams then went to SMU, where he was an all-Southwest Conference guard. After graduation, he enjoyed a successful career in real estate and the oil industry, and is credited with discovering the Giddings Field in Central Texas, which at the time was the largest oil field in the country. He helped found the Dallas Chaparrals in the old American Basketball Association and served as the team's first general manager. The Chaparrals eventually moved to San Antonio and became the San Antonio Spurs. When the Spurs won their first NBA championship, the team gave Max a special ring that was half Spurs, half Chaparrals. Max is also a member of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. Today, we remember our friend Max Williams and thank him for his support of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you. I know our lights are down, but I was just told I do this every time. I lift out one person, a past inductee, Adri Lakey. Adri, where are you at? From Roby. Adri, Get this, Adri won a national championship in Division II at Angelo State. 1 year in the discus, 1 year in the shot put, 1 year in the hammer throw. So, Adri, I apologize for leaving you out. Thank you for being here. Okay, we're going to begin with the presentation. We're going to do it in alphabetical order. I will have the video presentation, and then they'll come up. I'll present the trophy to them, and they'll give a acceptance speech. We asked all of them to keep it down within 5 minutes. Hopefully they will do that. Callie and James, sorry, but we're doing in alphabetical order. Callie, that means you go first, and James, you go last. That's what happens when your name is Washington, right? So let's begin with our video presentation from the MHC Kenworth and First Bank and Trust video board for Callie Corley Ashley. Callie Corley Ashley is the first volleyball player to be inducted into the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. In high school, however, Callie was much more than just a volleyball player, although she certainly excelled in that sport. She was a three-sport athlete at Abilene High in volleyball, basketball, and track. She was an all-state volleyball player and the district MVP as a senior. She also earned all-district honors in basketball and was a two-time state qualifier in the 100-meter hurdles and ran on a Lady Eagles relay team that qualified for state as a senior in track. Callie was named the recipient of the Bev Ball Award as a senior as the top female athlete at Abilene High. Corley then played volleyball for 4 years at TCU and still ranks second in school history with 1,433 digs, an average of more than 3.5 digs per set. She led the Horned Frogs in digs in both 2006 and 2007. She once recorded 33 digs in a match against Utah in 2007. That is third most in TCU school history. Please welcome Callie Corley Ashley, an all-around athlete and the first volleyball player to be selected to the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
How do I go right here?
Yeah.
I don't know about being first. It's a little nerve-wracking here. Good evening. First, I want to thank the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. This honor isn't mine alone. I share it with many of you in this room. To all the parents in the room that have donated their time to coach youth sports, a challenge of which I took on this year as I coached my son's first grade basketball team, please enjoy a large glass of wine and know that thank you is not enough. Some of my coaches, teammates, and family members from my very first soccer team, the Angels, are here tonight. And they remind me of the most important thing about sports, the relationships that we form that last a lifetime. I often have to remind myself of that as I sit on the sidelines at my kids' games. Thank you to all of those in this room that have dedicated your life to coaching and mentoring the youth and up to, with the new NCAA rules these days, grown adults. I never understood the true sacrifices you made until I married a college football coach myself. It really is a crazy profession. If I had $1 for the number of times I've asked if my livelihood depends on the decision of 18 to 22-year-old kids, well, I guess we could retire from coaching. But no one's in it for the big bucks. You spend a majority of your time showing up and sacrificing time with your own family to invest in your athletes. When the practices and games finish and athletes go home, you spend hours breaking down film and preparing for the next practice and game. You work tirelessly to make sure your athletes develop and help them accomplish their dreams. Coach Pierce, who's here tonight, I wouldn't have had my career at TCU without you. Beyond your coaching on the volleyball court, you spent hours of your own time cutting film and sending it off to schools so that I could be recruited from a town where volleyball players weren't well known. You were the Huddle software before Huddle software was invented. To Coach Mauser, I still hear in my head your voice shouting, "Corley, are you stupid?" I'm still not sure how to answer that, but you taught me that a coach can be really tough, push you to the brink of exhaustion, while at the same time believing in you even when you didn't believe in yourself. A lesson I had to carry into college when I showed up and everyone on the team was the best athlete from their school. In those moments where it took lots of grit, I'm thankful for your tough love. And to Coach McCaden, you championed for me to be here tonight, 20 plus years later, hopefully justifying to my kids and husband that I, at one time, could really run fast and jump high. You spent countless hours with us on the track, in the Yellow Dog buses, and in hotels, lifting us up and making us laugh. But I'm still a little scared to make direct eye contact with you because I feel like you might tell me to get on the line. We're running time 400s. One stat that was left off the slides tonight is one I can sure thank my brothers for. I'm pretty sure I still hold the record for the most technical fouls in a season, and I can say I learned that from the best. Driveway basketball games never ended without tears, blood, or both. But without both of them, I wouldn't be the competitor I am today. Most importantly, tonight, thank you to my parents. Thank you for supporting me every step of the way. There was not one game or meet that I participated in that one of you weren't there, and that's really hard to do with two older brothers and full-time careers. To everyone in this room, your presence means a great deal. You are the friends that cheer one another on, the doctors that fit us in last minute, in the case of Dr. Dozier, sometimes at the kitchen table, the aunts, uncles, and cousins that fill in to babysit when schedules are too busy, and the families that give up nights and weekends to show up. Without each of you, these awards wouldn't be possible. To the younger athletes out there, the journey isn't always smooth. There are hard practices, losses that sting, and moments where quitting seems easier. But in those moments, that's where you find out who you really are. Keep showing up and keep grinding. Because moments like this, being remembered not just for your stats, but for your heart, are what makes the game worth it. Thank you again for this unforgettable honor.
Kelly, congratulations. Next up, as we go down the list, it is the look to the video board and Mickey Early. Mickey Early played football and ran track at Rotan. He was a 9.6 second 100-yard sprinter in the late 1960s, which was among the fastest times in the state. He was a 3-year starter in football at Rotan, earning all district honors on both offense and defense. After high school, he signed a letter of intent with SMU, becoming a 3-year starter for the Mustangs. He earned second-team All-Southwest Conference honors as a defensive back as a junior and first-team preseason All-Southwest Conference recognition as a senior. After graduation from SMU, Early sat out of football for 2 years, choosing to teach in Dallas ISD and at Roby. He then signed a pro football contract with Bump Phillips and the Houston Oilers in 1978. His first daughter was born right before training camp, so after a few months with the Oilers, Early returned to Rotan to begin a 41-year career in education as a teacher, coach, principal, and superintendent in the Big Country. He taught history and coached football at Hobbs and Roby. He then moved into administration and served as a high school principal and middle school principal in Roby and Rotan. He later served as superintendent in Rotan. Please welcome Mickey Early as the newest inductee in the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm glad I sat on that end. Y'all got a lot of work ahead of you. I tell you, I look out across this room, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I'm in Rotan. We got 1,400 people in the town and 60 kids in the high school. This is wonderful. There are a lot of legends in this room. It's unbelievable. There's enough football legends and coaches and players in this room to make the Dallas Cowboys competitive again. It's a treat to be here. I'm glad my family could be here. I tell you, these guys are out of my league. These guys are legends, and many of you are legends too. But let me tell you, I got to grow up around several legends. When I was about 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I worked at the gas station pumping gas. And every Saturday morning, Slinging Sammy Ball came in to gas up his ranch pickup. A lot of you shaking your heads because you knew Sam, and let me tell you, his language was just as colorful then with us kids as it is now. Playing the game to me was wonderful. I left Rotan, our little bitty stadium. It was little compared to Stanford Stadium. But a little old bitty stadium, and then all of a sudden I was sitting in front of 65,000 people. And I was a free safety car. I got to take it all in. Ohio State, Florida, University of Texas. It was a thrill to go from that into that. The game was good to me. The game was fun. Let me tell you just a quick minute about the legends I got to play against, because I was from a small town. We went from Class A to Class 2A my senior year. I got to go play against only two-time Heisman Trophy winner ever, Archie Griffin. Archie Griffin for Ohio State, two-time Heisman Trophy. Some of you old-timers are going to say, yeah, I remember him. He could jump sideways 5 yards at a dead run, and you caught nothing but air. He made me look like a good junior high player on the first day of practice. Went right on through many, many great. You Baylor fans, Neil Jeffries, they had a little running back. Baylor won a Southwest Conference championship between two maybe losing seasons. They won the Southwest Conference championship in there. Neil Jeffries, one of the greatest quarterbacks around, and a little running back named Steve Baird that was like tackling a bowling ball. You Texas Tech fans, E. Comet Burley. E. Comet Burley and I did a Fellowship of Christian Athlete deal in Snyder when we were going through school. But Tommy Donovan, Andre Tillman, remember Andre Tillman? You had to crawl on a ladder just to get as tall as he was. Baylor, I roomed with a couple of guys y'all might have heard of when I was with the Houston Oilers. Mike Renfro played for the Dallas Cowboys. And if you're an ACU fan, I got to room with Chuck Sitton for a while. Many of y'all remember Chuck. I got to be around some legends, to be up against them. But the greatest legend of all, Earl the Pearl Campbell. The greatest of football. Let me tell you, I made an All-American out of him. I missed him so many times they had to write stories about it. I mean, I had 18 tackles against the University of Texas. I had 27 misses against Earl Campbell. Made a great ball player out of him, Earl the Pearl. He also, I was at the Houston Oilers in his rookie year. But one of my greatest deals, you saw it up there, I got to be coached by the great Bum Phillips. And let me tell you, the stories you've heard about Bum, they're true. I could tell you many stories. Thank you for this. It's always an honor to be I didn't know what to expect. This is a great bunch of people. There are legends here. I was a football player because I wasn't talented enough to be a golfer or a swimmer. I couldn't shoot a two-pointer. They called me two-point early when I was in basketball. I make 2 points, bring him out of the game. He ain't going to make any more. Couldn't play basketball. Baseball, I was terrible at. That's why they made me a catcher. All you got to do is catch the ball, throw it back to the pitcher. Y'all lived a wonderful life in your sports experience. I did in mine. God bless each of you. This is a great program. Keep up the good work.
Mickey, my best friend growing up and was best man in his wedding, was the starting guard on the high school basketball team with Neil Jeffries. So I knew about Neil from way back in his high school days in Kansas. Okay, next we turn back to the MHC Kenworth and First Bank and Trust video board, and we look at the story of Bill Grissom. Bill Grissom, who grew up in Winters, was the leading rusher at McMurray as a junior and senior in 1963 and 1964. He is a member of McMurray's Hall of Honor. Grissom was among the survivors of the belly landing plane crash involving the McMurray football team. Those survivors of that plane crash at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana included coaches Grant Taft and Herschel Kimbrell, who are also members of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame, as well as numerous athletes who, like Grissom, became high school football coaches in the Big Country. The survivors of that plane crash became known as the Bible Club, the Brotherhood of Indian Belly Landing Experts. After earning all-conference honors as both a running back and defensive back at McMurray, Grissom began a 34-year career as a high school football coach. He developed a reputation of turning downtrodden football programs into winning teams. He had head coaching stints at Hamlin, Breckenridge, Stanton, Colorado City, and Coleman, As a football coach, he won 7 district titles and made 13 playoff appearances. As a track and field coach, he won 7 district titles, 2 regional championships, and 2 state championships at Hamlin in 1973 and 1974. Even in his retirement, he has continued to work with hurdlers as a volunteer coach at Jim Ned. From a remarkable career that began with surviving a plane crash to coaching thousands of young athletes all across the Big Country, please welcome Bill Grissom as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
Man alive, what a great honor. It's such a great privilege to be here tonight. I've been associated with athletics in one way or another for many, many years. Been lots of good times and lots of bad times. But this tonight is an Uptown Big Time Award, and I appreciate it very much. I'd like to thank the Big Country Hall of Fame, and especially Al Pickett, who puts on this great show. And thank you again. This time, I'd like to introduce a few of my family members. My wife, Sharon. I hate to tell you how long we've been married. We've been married 58 years. And to top that, we went together 6 years before we got married. So we've been together for a while. My oldest son, Monty, he played for me at Breckenridge, Hamlin and Breckenridge. And then my other son, youngest son, Russ Grissom, and his wife, Bethany. Bethany's the ex-coach, and we always kid each other, you know, Coach Grissom this, Coach Grissom that, and I always tell her I'm the best coach, Coach Grissom, Coach Bill Grissom, and he gets on her nerves a little bit, but we enjoy it. But she was a volleyball coach for, 25 years or so, at New Bronzeville, Burnett, and she ended up at Thrall, Texas. How many of you have heard of Thrall? That's a big town right out of Taylor, Texas, and she did a great job there for about 15 years at Thrall. But so a great pleasure to coach those guys, my family, and we had a great time. And I look out in the audience, and we got other family members out there. My sister Phyllis and her husband Vaughn, and Wanda, my other sister, she's out there somewhere. But that plus all the I was amazed at all the athletes that showed up to be here tonight to witness what I'm going through tonight, and I appreciate that more than anything else that's taken place, because it shows that maybe you had a little impact on some of those kids, and they come back to witness what I'm trying to do here. So I appreciate that. A couple of coaches that coached with me, because I think that's probably one of the things that I worked out more than anything else, was trying to put a good coaching staff together wherever I coached. And we have Phil Swenson. He was with me at Hamlin, and Bill Tommy Miller. He was also with me at Hamlin. Those two guys are here, and I appreciate them coming by. But there's a lot of my ex-athletes out there. I wish I could name all of you, because you were so good. And one of the reasons, maybe if I had some success over the years, it was because of you guys. And I really appreciate more than anything for you showing up tonight. And I had one guy come all the way from Dallas. Said he came, David Willis, man. He came all the way from Dallas to visit. You know, I'm so proud of that. But that's the thing I believe in, and more than anything else. If you're going to have any success, you got to have a good coaching staff. And everywhere I went, I tried to build around. Let me just give you an idea of. I was, like I said, in Winters High School, this small town like Winters High School. Gordon Wood was there. Right after him, a guy named Marge Southall. I mean, he was probably one of the best quarterback coaches in the state of Texas. And he was there my freshman year, my sophomore and junior year, a guy named W.T. Stapler. He's a legend too, well known all over the state. And then my senior year, a guy named L.G. Wilson. He was my coach then. In fact, after I got out of college and graduated, I went to work for him. I worked for him 2 years at Winters, and then went to Florida with him for 4 years. And that's when I moved to, after that I moved to Hamlin and began coaching there. At McMurray, most of you heard of this guy, Grant Taft. He was my college football coach there, and he left there, went to Baylor. He was there 24 years and won 3 or 4 conference championships there, and he became president of the College Coach Association. Buddy Farnes, he was my backfield coach there, great guy, ended up at Tarleton. And then Herschel Kimbrell, he was more of a basketball coach, but he was also a great football coach also. But they're the guys that really made me want to go into coaching, because they, the attitude they had, the way they treated kids, and the influence they had on me is the reason more or less that I went into coaching. And when I hired coaches over the years, that's what I kind of went by, and the experience that we had with them, and it was great. And one more thing, we're talking about the plane crash. Now, that was a lot of fun. Oh, I tell you. We finished playing in Monroe, Louisiana, at the end, Northeast Louisiana is the name of the school. And we finished up that night. We got on the plane to come home, and all of a sudden, boy, something hit the runway, and boom! I've never seen anything like it. We took off, came back, was going to land because of the problems we were having, and when that plane hit the runway, it knocked the whole landing gear out. Okay, so we don't have a landing gear one, so we can't land on that small runway. So they decided to fly all the way to Shreveport, Louisiana, Barksdale Air Force Base in Shreveport, Louisiana, and that's where we landed. They were going to have it phoned down, but they didn't, and all this and that, and so they were coming in at such an angle at that time. They landed the plane on the runway, and that's where it, man alive, I tell you what, that thing would hit, bounce. Every time it would hit, a big ball of fire would come out right there under those fuel tanks. And they wondered why, how in the world that thing didn't explode, catch on fire or something. And it was unreal. And that comes down to what it was. They forgot to unlock the back elevators of that plane, and that's what controlled the height of the plane. That ride from Monroe, Louisiana to Shreveport, Louisiana, I guarantee you I could look down watching people watch TV in their living room. I guarantee you I saw one family watching Gunsmoke. I really believe it. But you saw what on the BIBLE Club, the Brotherhood of the Big Indian Landing Experts, and that's what Coach Taft came up with for us. And here's the scripture that he put on that card that he gave us. Romans 8:31. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? So that's pretty true. Thank you very much.
I always do this, and I look out in the audience, I realize another Hall of Famer that I didn't introduce, Hugh Sandifer, former Wiley coach. I know I'm not the only one, but I had my boys and my grandson play for Coach Sandifer, so we appreciate that. We go back a long ways, Coach, and so thank you very much. Let's turn next to the video board as we have the introduction of Ike Gross. Abilene is known as a tennis town, and the late Ike Gross is a big reason for that. Considered the father of tennis in Abilene, he is being honored posthumously as the recipient of the Impact on the Big Country Award. Growing up in Oklahoma, Gross was a 2-time All-American and a 3-time Oklahoma Intercollegiate Conference singles champion. He won 50 singles and doubles titles in his collegiate playing career. Gross came to Abilene from Lubbock, Coronado in 1969 and was the junior high tennis coordinator for the Abilene Independent School District. He is the reason that all of the middle schools in Abilene have tennis courts. Because of the foundation that Gross laid with youth tennis in Abilene, Cooper has won 4 state team titles, Abilene High 2 state team titles, and Wiley 14 state team tennis championships. Gross was with the AISD from 1969 to 1976 and then moved to Brownwood High School, where he also began the tennis program and laid the framework for continued growth and success there. Later, Gross became the head tennis coach at Oklahoma State, where he won 3 consecutive Big 8 championships before his death in 1986. Now back in Abilene, where he influenced so many young tennis players, Ike Gross is being recognized as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. And accepting will be his widow, Carolyn Gross. Big picture right here.
Thank you so much to all of you for being here today, honoring your person. Would like to thank the committee that chose this class of 2025. We are very proud to be in that group, and thank you for everything that everyone did to make that possible. Carol and Bryson, thank you so much for being so patient, and you made this a very special evening. Ike started coaching at Lubbock Coronata, and 2 of his very first team players are here, and I'd like to recognize them, brother and sister, Charles and Chuck Williams. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Ike's assistant coach at Oklahoma State University is here. He has been loyal. The family, we thank you for everything that you continue to do for us, and you're just the best. Yesterday, it's been mentioned that Rick Myers had a get-together for us, and it was a very good time for many people to see each other for the first time in a long, long time. It really meant a lot to my 4 children because they got to hear a lot of Ike stories, and they really enjoyed that. That was something they loved. The trip down memory lane has been something that we will always cherish and remember. I would like to introduce my family. My 3 daughters, Carrie, Christy, Cammie, son Michael, and my sister-in-law, Shelley McVeigh. Love y'all. Thank you for being here. I'd like Paul Pierce, who played for Ike in Brownwood, and later when he graduated from high school, he followed us to Oklahoma State. He's very special. I'm going to let him come up and finish this, but I want to thank each of you for continuing to honor your coach Ike. I'm sure he has a big smile on his face right now and sending a lot of love. Thank everyone for being here. Appreciate it immensely.
Well, this is really special for me, and Coach Grissom, you touched on a couple of things. Growing up in Brownwood, and obviously it's an honor to be able to talk about Coach Gross, but in my early days, the Hood family was in Brownwood at Higher Payne, so remember Dondi and their family. Obviously Coach Harrell and everything that he did in Brownwood. Used to play a lot of pickup basketball with Coach Harrell and had a lot of fun. And then obviously Coach Niffen. After we got started in tennis, Coach Gross made sure that we attended the Apache Land Tennis Camp, which was very special to, I know, many people in this room. And then that stud right there from Oklahoma State, got to watch him play a lot of football. So this is it's an honor for me to be here, but especially an honor to honor a man that I spent many hours with This is not about me, it's about the Grosses and everything that they did and how they touched so many people in this room. Is just quite amazing. Actually, Rick Myers, excuse me, a little bit nervous. Coach, I hope I don't double fault tonight. Rick asked me to tell a story, which Coach Gross receiving the Impact Award, I think many would totally understand this. When Coach got here in '69, he started the middle school program. And Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think as it got going, there were like 65 kids in the program. And then about a year and a half to 2 years later, there was 1,500 kids in the program. Kids were having to be carpooled from their middle schools over to Rose Park Tennis Center so that they could continue to practice. Then it grew even larger, where the AISD took school buses and bussed them over there so that they can make sure that all the kids, the interest level had just gone through the roof. And then Rick went on to say that due to that, there wasn't enough tennis courts. So what did they do? Coach put nets in that street that runs through Rose Park so that they could practice right there. So keep hitting tennis balls. And I know Rick and Jana Hanks and others helped the younger ones that were getting interested in tennis and all that. Actually reminded me of days in Brownwood when we had inclement weather and we thought we'd have a free period. No. We'd go in the cafeteria and Carrie, you remember vividly, we'd get chairs just like that, we'd line them up like it's a net, and we'd get across from one another and just hit volleys. And we'd try to set a record every day. So the impact that Coach made, and the other thing that Rick mentioned is that, obviously, I think it mentioned it during the video board, was as a result of that here, that each middle school built 6 tennis courts. The demand was so high that they had to build tennis courts at the middle schools, which obviously still lives today. So Coach came to Brownwood, a bunch of the same, came in, started redoing the courts himself, a group of dads that obviously from some of the kids' families spent a ton of time out there improving the conditions. And I know some of you up here, arguably I believe, and I know there were a lot of great coaches in the state of Texas at the time, but I'm not sure that one town had 2 better coaches than Gordon Wood and Ike Gross. So we were extremely fortunate. Coach Gross taught us how to win, taught us how to love one another, taught us how to be champions, and always taught us a little bit about Willie, Waylon, and the boys, and a little bit of David Allen Cole. So an honor and a privilege, especially Carrie, Christy, Cammie, Carolyn, of course, Michael. Unbelievable experience that many of us in this room. So congratulations to everyone. Thanks for having us. And Coach, I hope it didn't double fault.
Thank you, Paul. Next up, as we look to the MHC Kenworth and First Bank and Trust video board, it is Sam Harrell. Sam Harrell has enjoyed an amazing career as a quarterback and a successful and innovative high school football coach. Harrell was an outstanding quarterback at Brownwood, where he played for fellow Hall of Famer Gordon Wood. Harrell is a second-generation coach in his family. His father was an assistant to Wood in Brownwood. After graduating from Brownwood in 1975, he attended Abilene Christian University and then returned to Brownwood as an assistant to Wood. Harrell began his head coaching career at Reagan County, where he posted a 36-8 record and 3 by-district championships before taking the head coaching job at Ennis in 1994. He is ranked among the top 15 winningest coaches in Texas high school history with 239 career wins. He posted a record of 203 wins and just 79 losses at Ennis, winning state championships in 2000, 2001, and 2004. At Ennis, he became one of the first coaches in Texas to use a no-huddle spread offense and one of the first teams in the state to have its offensive players wear wristbands with numbered plays called in from the sidelines. Harrell resigned at Ennis in 2009 when he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. After going to Panama for stem cell therapy treatments, he was able to return to Brownwood as a quarterback coach in 2012 before going back to Ennis as the head coach in 2018. He resigned again following the 2024 football season because of his ongoing battle with MS. His 3 sons became football coaches, including Graham, who was a record-setting all Big 12 quarterback at Texas Tech and was a backup to Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers. Graham is now the offensive coordinator at Abilene Christian University, and another son, Clark, is an assistant coach at Wiley. Harrell has been named Coach of the Year by Reebok, the Texas Sports Writers Association, and the Dallas Cowboys. He served on the board of directors for the Texas High School Coaches Association and was named to that organization's Hall of Fame. He's also been inducted into the Gordon Wood Hall of Champions in Brownwood. And now another honor, Sam Harrell is a member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Speaking initially for Coach Harrell will be his son, Clark.
I'm Clark Harrell. I'm Sam and Kathy's youngest son. Most of you probably know my dad was diagnosed about 20 years ago, and so he asked me to accept this award on his behalf, which I was honored to do. And he wrote a speech, but before I read that speech, I just wanted to say a couple things about Dad. As most people know the video board and know about the wins, but I got to see him from a different perspective. Most people know him by state championships and innovative offense. When I hear Sam Harrell, I think who he is, not what he accomplished. In a profession driven by egos and charisma, he never strayed from integrity, kindness, and humility. Me, Graham, and Zach watched not only his unwavering love for the game, but his unwavering love for everybody around him. His example is the reason all 3 of us coach now. None of us near as good a coach as he was. I will always be proud to call Sam Harrell my dad. Now here's the words that he wrote. I can't begin to tell what an honor it is to be here tonight. The Big Country Hall of Fame is filled with fantastic men and women whom we all know and admire. To be counted among them is truly humbling. First and foremost, I want to thank my family, my 3 sons and their families, who I am so proud of, and my wonderful and supportive wife. Your love, patience, and belief in me have meant more than I can put into words. To the coaches and friends who are here tonight, you make this evening so meaningful and special. To everyone involved in making this wonderful event a success, thank you very much. Your hard work and dedication are appreciated. Now my dad would like to share a short story about one of his first games as a coach in Brownwood.
Thanks, Clark. My voice is about as shaky as my walking now, so I didn't know if I could do that. That's nice, kind words by Clark. I want to tell one quick Hall of Fame story. You know, as that video board said, I played in Brownwood in the 1970s, and then I coached at Brownwood in the 1980s. Well, my first game back there, I was, returning player and getting the coach there, and so excited. I got my maroon hat on, my maroon and white shirt on, my khaki pants on. Boy, I'm ready to coach Brownwood. And so it's time to take the field, and the field is right out here, and the home stand's right here, and out here is the parking lot, way out here is the parking lot. And so I'm walking down there, the team's already down there, and they're about to get on the field, and I'm ready to walk down there for my first game with Brownwood line coach. And so as I'm walking down, Coach Wood, I played there under Coach Wood, Coach Southall, and Coach West, 3 great men, and now I'm getting to coach with them. Well, as I'm walking down there, Coach Wood is standing right over here, and he's not looking at the field, he's looking out here in the parking lot. And I'm thinking, what was he doing? Well, I start walking in a little closer, and Coach Wood, he always called me Sammy. He said, Sammy, come here. And so I walked over to him, he points out there to the parking lot, he says, I want you to go out there to the parking lot. And he said, I think somebody is parking in Dr. Reed's parking place. He said, they can't be parking in Dr. Reed's parking place. I want you to go out there and check. So here I go with my maroon hat on, my maroon shirt, my head down. I'm just walking out to the parking lot. My first game I was all excited about. Now I'm getting to be a parking lot attendant. So I have to go out there and spend my time in the parking lot, and I don't get to go out there to the field and be a coach. And so that's a great way to start a Hall of Fame coaching career right there. Thank you again very much.
Coach, thank you. Next up, the video board as we see the story of Leslie Harrison. Leslie Harrison becomes just the second rodeo participant to be inducted into the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Born in San Antonio, Harrison graduated from high school in Anson and has lived in Stanford for years. Her records are numerous and remarkable. In high school, she competed mainly in roping events before becoming a barrel racer. She was a two-time all-around champion in the world's largest all-girls rodeo. While a student at Hardin-Simmons, she was part of the only all-girl rodeo team to make the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association finals. On 3 different horses, she has won the American Quarter Horse Association's World Championship Bear Select Amateur Barrel Race 6 times and the Reserve World Champion twice. On one occasion, she won the World and Reserve titles on 2 different horses in the same year. Later that same year, she won the Open World Championship. She has won 6 National Barrel Horse Association Senior 1D Champion titles and won 7 championships in the Open category. She won the amateur timed money added event at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo in 2012, 2015, and 2017. She also won the Texas Cowboys Reunion Open Barrel Race in Stanford twice, which of course is the largest amateur rodeo in the world. Harrison was inducted into the Texas Rodeo Cowboy Hall of Fame in 2008 and has trained and qualified several horses for the American Quarter Horse Association World Championship Show. Please welcome Leslie Harrison of Stanford, who has enjoyed a lengthy and amazing career as a barrel racer, the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
I'm not a big speaker, so this is going to be short and sweet. But first of all, thank you, Big Country Hall of Fame. This has been such an honor to be recognized with so many great athletes from the past and the present. Really, this award should go to all my outstanding horses that I have been blessed to ride. From a small girl with a large dream to be the best I could be with those horses, to a mother, a wife, a grandmother, and a nurse, I have been blessed. Thank you to my Lord Jesus Christ and Savior, and thank you all for coming out tonight. It is truly an honor to receive this recognition for so many wonderful horses that have earned so much for me. I was just along for the ride. Thank you, and God bless.
Leslie would have had the horses too. We couldn't figure out how to get them in the convention center. Congratulations. Next up is the Hood family. For years, Abilene was the pole vault capital of the world, thanks to Don W. Hood. Today, the late Don Hood and his sons Joel, Don D., and Derek are being inducted as the Pat Gerald Legacy Award recipients in the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. After coaching high school football, track and field, and cross country, and college coaching stints in North Texas, Wichita State, and Howard Payne, Hood became the head track and field coach at Abilene Christian University in 1977. In 11 years, he led the Wildcats to 8 NCAA Division II national championships and 2 NAIA titles. He mentored 16 Olympians in his career. He was especially known as a tutor to numerous great Wildcat pole vaulters, including fellow Big Country Hall of Famers Billy Olson and Brad Pursley, as well as Olympian Tim Bright. He coached 13 pole vaulters over the 18-foot barrier, including Olson, who set 11 world indoor records in the 1980s. Olson was the first person to vault 19 feet indoors and the first American to clear 19 feet. Overall, he had 159 athletes who earned All-American honors, and he taught many more through his Don Hood world-class pole vault camps, mainly of which were held in Abilene. Wes Gitley, Hood's successor as the men's and women's track coach at ACU, has won 2 national championships at Texas Tech and is also a member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Hood's 3 sons followed him into the track and field coaching ranks. All 3 graduated from ACU. Joel and Don D graduated from Abilene Christian School and Derek from Abilene High. Joel was an assistant coach at ACU in 1984 and 85 when the Wildcats won back-to-back national championships. For the last 20 years, Joel has been a high school track coach at White Deer, Fort Worth Western Hills, Bowie, Rotan, Rising Star, Roby, and Jacksboro. During his high school coaching career, Joel's teams won 7 district cross-country championships and 9 district titles, 1 area championship and 1 regional crown in track and field, as well as 1 regional championship in powerlifting. His Rotan team was state runner-up. He coached 8 athletes who won state championships, including Big Country Athletic Hall of Famer Adri Lakey of Roby, who was a state champion in both the shot put and discus. Lakey was later an NCAA Division II national champion in the shot put, discus, and hammer throw. Don D won 4 NCAA Division II outdoor national track and field championships as the head coach at ACU, and also has coached at Brownwood High School, LeTourneau University, and is currently the head track coach at Harding University in Arkansas. Derek has coached at Keller Fossil Ridge and Keller Central, as well as Bethany College in Kansas. He led ACU's men's cross-country team to back-to-back NCAA Division II national championships in 2006 and 2007. 2 generations, 4 coaches, numerous national championships, including the reputation as the greatest pole vault coaches in the country. The Hood family, Don, Joel, Don D, and Derek, are this year's Pat Gerald Memorial Legacy Award recipients in the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. I think all 3 are going to tag team. This tag team's not track, that's wrestling.
We're going to go in chronological order.
All right, I'm the oldest, and so we got 5 minutes, so I get 2, they get a minute and a half each. If we run out of time, baby brother's short, that's just going to have to work. It's a great honor to be here to follow in our father's footsteps. We're riding his coattails in something like this. He was truly a great man, but it said it's a family award. Excuse me. Our mother was a big part of what we do as a family, and she did so much. I'm sorry, it's kind of emotional here, but you know, guys, it's something to say things about a family. A coach's wife, mother, it's a wonderful thing, and she put her heart and soul into it, and we wouldn't be here without her. Thank y'all so much for this honor. Appreciate it.
I would never cry in public. My wife's offering me a tissue, so y'all get ready. There's so much truth in riding the coattails, and we're really honored, and thank you guys so much for this honor. It means a lot. West Texas, the big country, is where we grew up. It's what we call home, and we're really proud to be a part of this. I want especially to thank my family for allowing me to live this life, because we learned from a really young age that it's got to be the whole group. If you're in it by yourself, it doesn't work. And so thank you to my 3 daughters and my son and my beautiful wife who allow this to happen. Thank you very much. One of the things we hope, and I've got to say this too, I'm really disappointed that my athletic career wasn't a part of this. I was one of the greatest tailbacks to ever come through West Texas, through the big country. Every coach I played for, everyone I played for, when I said, "Coach, can I get in?" It's your tailback on the bench. I think I was the only tailback on the basketball team. But this is a huge deal for us, and we hope, above all else, we hope that the memory of our parents and of what we've done is an honor to God. That's what we learned. Nothing is more important than that. And I think that's where our inspiration to excel came from, because if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna be a child of God, if you're gonna honor your Maker, you do your best. Yes. And that's where, as a family, our heart is, and we hope that's what we have left behind as we move on and go on into the next reward. But we appreciate this very much, and thank you guys for this honor.
So those that knew my dad, he poured himself into those athletes. Dad, come at Joel. And so did our mom. Lots of times where the athletes were brought to our house, and my mom would tutor them when they needed help in the classroom. We had the world famous PR pies that if they got a personal record, she would make them a pie. And I think that's what started this whole, there's a Mondo Duplantis pole vault frame over there, and if anybody follows the pole vault right now, they go up like 1 centimeter at a time whenever they break a record. And I think that probably goes back to the 80s with Pursley and Olson and others, that each meet just break their personal record by 1/4 of an inch, so the next week they could get a pie from my mom. That was our NIL back in the day there at Abilene Christian. But my dad was a huge competitor. It didn't matter if you were playing ping pong, racquetball, anything. I mean, he would challenge anybody to a game and wore out the health and PE department staff there at ACU during lunch breaks, playing anything with a racket. And then he poured himself to his athletes as well. We shared him. And lots of bird hunts, lots of good times together. Anyway, so he made a lot of impressions, and I hope that, I know that myself and my brothers did as well, because we try and put extra, be extraordinary, do the extras to have a above ordinary performance. And if that means staying late after a workout or working with kids that aren't even on our team, I mean, I bet back in the late 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, anybody in the big country that had anything to do with track and field at the high school level, they'd wait around till my dad finished a workout, and they would show up, and they'd load up in whatever vehicle they could get there and hit work with. So this means a lot to us. And then with all of us, our family supporting us is super important. So thank you, Sam, Aubrey, Morgan, and Hayden's serving the country over in England right now. Wish you could be here. But places that we coached, we also had families that supported us. And I was very lucky when I was in the Keller area to have a family that had my back. So Bob and Karen Apets in the very back there, if y'all would raise your hand, I would appreciate it. I think every coach always has this family that's in the background running interference to the booster club for you and things like that, you know, when you have a losing game or a record or something like that. And the Apetzes had my back in the Keller area. And then here at ACU, the McClung family, Shane and Melissa, if y'all would raise your hand real quickly. Those two helped us tremendously at ACU with our international athletes particularly. So, you know, any coach that's ever done anything, I think they could name some of those families that have supported them in the background as well. And then last but not least, being a hood boy it's an honor, but you know, we had a lot to live up to, and we were all successful in our own ways. But I've got a table of college buddies, if y'all raise your hand real quick, that let me just dare quit, just be myself, and I appreciate y'all being here tonight. So thank you to the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame for this honor. It means the world to us. So thanks so much.
Next up, the video board from MHC Kenworth and First Bank and Trust, Fred Niffen. The late Fred Niffen is one of two recipients of the Bill Hart Memorial Legends Award this year from the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Considered a pioneer of tennis in Texas, Niffen's career began as a state singles champion at Clyde High School. He then played tennis at Hardin-Simmons University, where he's a member of that school's Hall of Honor. He was Abilene Cooper's first tennis coach and then served as a head tennis pro at Fair Park Tennis Center, now known as Rose Park, until 1973. Niffen moved to Tyler in 1973, where he started the Tennis Tech program at Tyler Junior College. It was the first of its kind, an internationally known program for students wanting to seek a career as a tennis teaching professional, earning a college degree and managing a tennis program. Students came from all over the world to earn that degree. During that time, he was also the head tennis coach at Tyler Junior College. He won 4 junior college national championships at Tyler and coached 31 players to All-American honors. In 1985, he was named the head tennis coach at the University of Texas at Tyler, a position he held until his retirement in 1997. It is believed that his overnight tennis camps in Tyler, started in 1972, were the first week-long sports camps of any sport in Texas. Niffen and his brothers managed that camp for 48 years. He has previously been inducted into 8 different Halls of Fame, but now you can add a 9th Hall of Fame induction, where it all began for Niffen in Clyde and Abilene in the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. And Fred's son, Dale Niffen, will be representing him. Thank you.
So unlike the Hood family, I did not follow my dad into coaching. So I'm going to tell my grandchildren that this was my award. So I need that picture. So, but honestly, it's such an honor to be up here. I have 3 sisters. If you don't know who they are, they're the tallest women in the room. But Janet, Judy, Jalen are also here, and we're so honored to be part of this. You know, my dad passed away a few years ago, and if you didn't know him, he was a giant in Texas tennis. And I'm so thankful for the Hoods. I've already cried because I'm going to cry as well when I'm up here just talking about him. But, you know, he was a coach and a player. In those 8 Hall of Fames we mentioned, you know, I think this one would have been one of the ones he would have been most proud of, because my dad was a big country person. I mean, born and raised in Clyde, Texas. You know, he grew up, his parents were farmers. There was one court in Clyde, and it was on that court that he developed his love of tennis and his competitiveness. And he played with a tennis racket he ordered on, you know, a Sears and Roebuck catalog. His mom would hamstring the rackets. And if any of you guys play tennis, that's kind of crazy. But he won, you know, a state championship at Clyde. He wasn't the only one. His brother is here as well, John Niffen. He John didn't want me to mention him, but I am. John also was a legendary tennis coach, and he's in the Texas Coaching Hall of Fame as well. And it just keeps going. My sisters are in Hall of Fames, everyone but me except for now, because I'm now in a Hall of Fame. But it's a great reminder, you know, of all that he's done. And I don't think you guys realize how much tennis is part of our family. I don't think we have a single family portrait that doesn't have a tennis racket in it, right? And, you know, it's not just John. My sisters are all Americans. They're, you know, in their own Hall of Fames. They all played college tennis, right? It was kind of rough on me, though, because I would walk on court and they'd go, "Ooh, you're a Niffin." And they'd beat me and I'd go, "Oh, you're a Niffin?" But seriously, I'm so proud to get to carry, dang it, you hoods, get to carry the name Niffin because of what it meant. And I think as you did with your dad, we see things different from a child's or a son's perspective of their kid or their father than the coaches know. And so when I think of my dad, I think more about, you know, the accomplishments, they're great. The Hall of Fames are wonderful. In fact, we didn't even mention everything he did. He won 2 national championships at UT Tyler. He coached another 31 All-Americans there. That's great. But if I'm going to say anything about my dad, you know, it's what made him special was his character. And that's what he learned. And what I've seen through him being a child of West Texas and the way he carried himself. And I know there are a lot of coaches in the room, and I think everyone's had a coach in their life. Coaches love coach speech. No offense. But they do. And my dad loved coach speech. So things like, if you're there on time, you're 10 minutes late, is ingrained in my head, right? He'd say stuff like, practice doesn't make perfect, perfect practice makes perfect. But there was one phrase he always used that's always stuck with me, and it's just 3 words. It's "and then some." And if you've never heard that, what it really is, it's kind of like giving 110%, but that's how he lived his life. If you've ever thought about what "and then some" means, it's like if you've practiced as hard as you can, do that and then some. If you study for a test, study as hard as you can and then some. And why that's so important is, you know, what he really wanted to teach us was that, you know, our ability for excellence, we don't know how good we can be unless we're challenged and push ourselves beyond just what we think we can do. So, you know, I saw that, and that's how he lived his life, because what he did as a coach, I saw from the home. And he learned that hard work ethic of giving everything growing up on a farm. And, you know, if you want to hear about farm life, talk to John. Sorry, John. But it was how he helped us as a dad, right? He would get us up at 6 a.m. and we would either be on the tennis court or doing manual labor. And, you know, what it meant was he modeled what it meant to be a man of character, and he modeled what it meant to work hard. And, you know, at the time I really hated being dragged to do manual labor or do tennis, but what a blessing to see your dad live that life. And so for all the people who he coached, understand he was the same way at home. And what he enjoyed most in life was to mentor people and show them, you know, what it meant to live a man of character. And so what he did in terms of work ethic is great, but the other thing about him, then some, he always poured into people. We were talking about last night, he poured into every one of his players. And, you know, the Gross family, we love you guys so much. And you don't understand what a connection. My dad and the Gross family were in Abilene at the same time. And they started this amazing tennis camp. And it's not ironic that the name of this tennis camp was Big Country, because that's what it was. And my dad ran that camp for 47 years. And through that camp, with the Gross family, my uncles and all, you know, he would get so excited every week, every summer he would have it, and then in the fall he would plan. He would get so excited. It wasn't just because he was thinking about the next drills. He was thinking, what can I teach these kids? Right? And being a coach is just who he was, because all he ever wanted to do was pour into people. And, you know, that was a gift of selfless reflection. I know, Al, you had everyone stand up who was impacted by Coach Gross or Coach Niffen. You know, the impact he's had on you guys. I mean, there's so many numerous people that my dad would have wanted me to introduce, because no program is built by one person. So to the hundreds of players that my dad coached, the thousands that they taught, you know, there were so many he worked beside. Just know, my dad knew every one of y'all's names, and he loved every one of them so much. So for my sisters and I, we really want to thank the Big Country Hall of Fame, because it's a chance for us to, you know, reflect on the legacy that he had. Because his legacy does live on. It lives on not only through me and my sisters, but every single player he ever coached or taught. And so with that, I'm going to take my Hall of Fame trophy and sit down. Thank you.
Next up, if you don't know the story of Tex Robertson, you're going to be amazed. So turn to the video board and see the story of Tex Robertson. The Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame is thrilled to induct Jillian Tex Robertson posthumously as a recipient of the Bill Hart Memorial Legends Award. Perhaps none of the 250 inductees in the Hall of Fame's history has had a more unique and long-lasting impact on his sport than Tex Robertson. Tex grew up in Sweetwater, where he graduated from high school. As a youngster, he began a swimming career by learning to swim in a flooded creek and practiced in a horse trough. He then swam at the University of Michigan. He was a member of the 1932 U.S. Olympic water polo team that won a bronze medal. Robertson then started the swim program at the University of Texas, where he was the Longhorns' first swim coach from 1935 to 1950. He trained 13 All-Americans and multiple Olympians and won 13 Southwest Conference championships. He also invented the flip turn. During World War II, he joined the Navy and trained underwater demolition techniques. Trainees became known as frogmen, which was the forerunner of the Navy SEALs. He then created Camp Longhorn, a summer camp for youth at Inks Lake near Burnett in central Texas. Camp Longhorn is one of the largest summer camps in the state, with 3 sites today, and is still being run by his sons and grandsons. Robertson also invented a plastic flying disc that became known as the Frisbee. Up until his death in 2007, at the age of 98, Robertson was still swimming a mile every day and competed in master swimming competitions well into his 90s. He received numerous awards in his remarkable career, including being inducted into the Longhorn Hall of Honor in 1965 and the International Swimming Hall of Fame in 2003. Tex Robertson, an Olympian, the founder of the University of Texas swim program, and the creator of Camp Longhorn that has taught thousands of Texas children to swim during its summer camp that is still operating today, also started the Texas Swimming Hall of Fame and is now a member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. And accepting is his son, Robbie Robertson.
Wow. How are y'all doing? So how do you address someone like that who's your dad, but he's bigger than your dad? So we really, in what I have to say, I may speak of him as Tex sometimes, because he was Tex sometimes, he was coach sometimes, and he was dad sometimes. So, well, let's see. Mickey, that was yours. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Yeah, thank you for the dad speech. I appreciate it. They got that part of it. So that's gone. So y'all are getting fortunate. It's getting shorter all the time. Okay. Anyway, thank you to the hall. This is something he would have been absolutely amazed by. And I do think, as you were saying, he was a big country boy at heart. I can remember traveling, and this isn't on speech, sorry. Sorry, Deidre, I apologize. My wife, Deidre, over there. So at the end, you need to clap so that I don't get beat up at the hotel room. But he was an amazing man, and we would travel through here doing recruiting for camp. And the stories that he would tell us of trapping on the creek outside of Sweetwater to get enough money to go the week, to swimming in the horse trough. One story that was not told here, and it's actually in this other thing I've got here somewhere in my stuff down. Oh, there it is this book. And all proceeds go to Robbie Robertson, Camp Longhorn. But this is a book that has everything in it about Tex from the time that he was in Sweetwater till he got his award in the International Swimming Hall of Fame. And it has so much stuff in it that I didn't know. And a grandson wrote it and went all over the nation finding different people to interview. And one of them was a gold medalist that he coached, Adolf Kiefer, who was responsible for getting him. And I see Bev sitting over there. Bev, he loved you. And for you to build the swimming out here like you did was phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal. Anyway, through his life, he was always, if you said to him, but Tex, I don't know how to swim. He said, well, that doesn't mean you can't coach. I said, I can't coach. Sure you can. And I think you've probably heard that from a lot of your coaches. Sure you can. So through the years, Dad was a inventor, a creator. One of the things that he did create, which really I found out he really wasn't the first, but he was the first to do an organized game. So Coach Bob Shipley, will you stand up over there, please? Coach Bob Shipley, y'all give him a hand. Stand up, Bob. No, come here, Bob. You're part of the act. I also need two young children over here in front. Come up front. We're gonna throw out the opening salo, and y'all all are gonna count down for the opening salo. Ready? We're gonna go from 5, 4. Everybody. 3, 2, 1. And does he catch it? There's opening salo. And here comes another one, and here's another one, and here's another one, and here comes one out there. Oh, it's a fumble. All right, well, anyway, those would be the kind of things that Tex would have absolutely loved. I remember him at the International Swimming Hall of Fame with honoring Adolf Kiefer, who's one of the nation's greatest suppliers of swimming pool equipment. And he put a nose clip on his nose and goggles on his head at 94, receiving the award. And I'm not going to speak as long as he did that night, but it was for 23 minutes. He spoke and stood up there until they finally kind of gave him the yank. But I've got a video that we're gonna show. I want you to have just a little flavor of Tex.
Joy to have that. And you ask about my swimming. It's all of it, just a little bit of all of it, but put it all together, well, it's a wonderful, wonderful life. It's kept me alive. I think I have a pulse here. Anyways, I'm just barely over 74, and I came here for an interview, and I thought it was my life, and it was pretty dull, if you see from that film right up there. In fact, when I first got here, I thought that Buck wanted to interview me for my life, and he saw me limping in. He said, "Who brought you?" And I said, well, starting off, the stark, you know, that big bird with the big bill brought me there. And the first thing they asked me about my swimming, Tex, are you still swimming? And I said, no, it just looks like it.
So, this is what we grew up with consistently. Whatever it was, whether it was forming tags, which is Texas age group swimming, whether it was anything that had to do with the community, the honor citizen, whatever, everybody fell in line with it, and it all came from camp, and the life of camp and building. We have out of his, all 5 of us kids are involved in camp. If we're not too old to retire, which I'm working my way there. But they're out of the 18 grandkids, 16 are now working at camp, and that would have been his pride. And the family thing is huge. And I'm sure if he was here today, he would consider all of y'all family. And I really didn't realize what a wonderful and prestigious organization this was until I looked under the hood. So thank y'all, appreciate it. Have a wonderful, wonderful life, and continue doing.
I had the pleasure of writing Emory Billard's autobiography, the coach who invented the wishbone, and when he was in college, he worked at Camp Longhorn and at Inks Lake. So
he was the first athletic director at Camp Longhorn.
Really, I didn't even know that. So that's I always heard about Camp Longhorn long before I met the Robertsons. Our final award will be given to James Washington. So let's look to the video board. Being the best in the nation is quite an accomplishment, and James Washington did just that in 2017 when, as a senior at Oklahoma State, he was named the winner of the Blitnikoff Award and a unanimous first-team All-American as the nation's top receiver. The folks at Stanford knew how great an athlete Washington was long before he went to Oklahoma State. He played wide receiver for the Bulldogs, leading Stanford to back-to-back state football championships in 2012 and 2013. As a senior, he had 73 receptions for 1,331 yards and 24 touchdowns as a receiver, and 42 tackles and 7 interceptions on defense in helping Stanford win its second consecutive Class 2A state championship. He was also a standout on the Bulldogs basketball team that lost in the state championship game, and if that wasn't enough, he played tennis and ran track in high school too. As a true freshman at Oklahoma State, Washington played in all 13 games and had 28 receptions for 452 yards and 6 touchdowns. He grabbed 53 passes for 1,087 yards and 10 touchdowns as a sophomore. He had 71 receptions for 1,380 yards and 10 touchdowns as a junior, and was named the offensive MVP of the 2016 Alamo Bowl after recording 9 receptions for 171 yards and a touchdown. Washington returned to Oklahoma State for his senior year rather than enter the 2017 NFL Draft. He caught 74 passes for 1,549 yards and 13 touchdowns as a senior in winning the Blitnikoff Award. Washington was selected by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the second round of the 2018 NFL Draft. He had 16 receptions for 217 yards and a touchdown as a rookie in 2018. He played 4 seasons for the Steelers, catching 114 passes for 1,629 yards and 11 touchdowns during his 4-year NFL career. He spent time briefly over the next 2 years with the Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, New Orleans Saints, Indianapolis Colts, and Atlanta Falcons before ending his NFL career. James Washington, a 4-sport standout in high school at Stanford, the nation's top receiver at Oklahoma State, and a 4-year career in the NFL with over 1,600 yards receiving. please welcome James Washington as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
If you know me, you know I don't really public speak much. But thank you. I'm truly honored to be standing here tonight. Being inducted into the Big Country Hall of Fame is humbling and rewarding, and I'm so grateful. Growing up, I never dreamed this far. I just wanted to play the game I love, represent my school, and make my family proud. Never in a million years did I imagine this would be the outcome. I have God and so many to thank for this moment. I want to thank my mom, my family, who was here on her birthday. Thank you. My dad, you guys were my first coaches, not just with X's and O's, but with life. You taught me discipline, work ethic, and most importantly, how to be a good person. You were always there in the stands whether it was 100 degrees or freezing cold. And that support, that belief, got me through the hardest moments. Sorry. To my siblings and cousins, my first teammates, thank you for teaching me how to support others while working toward a common goal. Thank you for the many minutes you spent teaching me and practicing with me, driving me to camps and coming to watch me play. I love y'all, and those moments will never be forgotten. And to my wife and daughter, thank you for the sacrifice you make for my personal career, my professional career. This game takes energy and everything you've got, and you two stand by me through it all. This honor is yours just as much as mine. To the coaches who helped shape me, thank you. You weren't just drawing plays, you were building character. You believed in me before I believed in myself. You pushed me, you challenged me, and you showed me how to lead. From Friday night lights to early morning workouts, I owe so much of who I am to your guidance. You didn't just teach me football, you taught me about life, about resilience, about what it means to leave everything on the field. And to my teammates, man, we went to battle together, we shared blood, sweat, and tears, and every win and loss was something we carried together. I wouldn't trade those locker room moments, those road trips, or those championship runs for anything. You guys made the game fun, you made the grind worth it. I hope all of you know you're part of this honor too. And to the Big Country community, thank you. This place raised me. Whether you cheered me on from the stands or gave me a pat on my back at the grocery store, your support mattered. It made me feel like I was playing for something bigger than myself. Though through this community, I've gotten to know so many incredible people who have further instilled love, respect, and value in my life. I hope that the kids and everyone out there watching me, those still dreaming, know that it's possible. That hard work, heart, and humility will carry you further than talent ever could. The towns in our area may be small, but big results occur when you have support of the Big Country behind you. As I look back on this journey, I'm filled with gratitude, not just for the wins and honors, but for the people. For every person who believed in me, challenged me, and walked alongside of me. Football gave me a platform, but my community gave me a purpose and a lifelong family. And that is the greatest honor in my life. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Let me make a couple quick announcements. First of all, I do this is our 24th year, and I always think, boy, how do we get better? What a great group, huh? How about giving all of them a big round of applause? For those of you, that's right. For those of you who are past inductees and get your picture taken, we'd love to have your picture taken afterwards over here in front of the banner. We'll use it for promotional purposes. And also on May the 6th, the Abilene Community Foundation has their Day of Giving, the Abilene Day of Giving, and you can go online, and there's hundreds of charities in Abilene, but we hope that you would remember the Big Country Hall of Fame as one of those to help support us. Come visit us in the museum. We're open 7 days a week, free of charge. and I think you'll be amazed at all the remarkable stories as you heard some of them here tonight. Thank you for being here. What a great crowd, and that concludes the banquet. And for you inductees, remember all the memorabilia over here in your displays will be yours to pick up. Okay? Thank you. Have a great evening.